The world, as we see it today, is plagued with injustice, intolerance, wars, famine, and a plethora of diseases. And let's not forget the chances of World War III looming over our heads, which may turn into a global nuclear war. So what is happening to humanity? Or let me be a bit more blunt. Why are people losing their minds?
Right now, we're seeing this world that we live in right now. Anxiety is at the highest, tension, depression for individuals. But even on the global level, we're looking at a possible nuclear war. God forbid that happens, everything is done. So how do you remain sane and calm? And what do you have to tell to the world? Like, what's that one ingredient that we're missing?
See the news not too much.
There you go.
Because sometimes you get depressed just from looking at it.
I think it's two things.
Okay.
You must be educated and have some intelligence, and you must have some spirituality.
Could this really be because of our lack of belief in God? We did a quick search on Google to see what people are asking about God. And the top search results were, does God care? Does God talk to us? Does God love everyone?
I did some research on this, I'm like, let's ask Google, what are people searching during these times, right? Mm-hmm. So the search was about God. And okay, does God talk to us? Does God still love us? Does God still speak to us right now like he used in the past? So these questions, are there, right? Would you be able to answer any of these questions? Do you have any answers to those questions that people are searching for about God?
I think that, God can take many forms. People can find gods in lots of things. Mm-hmm. Whether that's right or wrong, that's up for everyone else to decide. It's not for me to tell people what's right and wrong.
I think that if ever there is someone who is for us, it's God.
Some religions put their faith in the coming of a Messiah, so it makes sense that those hot questions about God should be answered by that Messiah himself. So we looked back at the history of USA, and in the 1900s, people expected the Messiah to come. Then in the 1920s again, people were expecting him to appear. And let's not forget the dawn of the new millennia, because in the 2000s, people had a frenzy expecting to see the Messiah. They even set up Messiah cams to get a glimpse of this Messiah. Even today, Pew Research did a poll, and 79% of Christians in America are expecting Jesus someday. But let's take a step back for a second. And let me tell you about one man that I know of who announced to the world, and especially in America, that he was that Messiah the world had been waiting for. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, upon whom be peace, announced, "I am the true Messiah who has come to declare the glory of God upon earth. I have come in the spirit and character of Jesus Christ. I am a man, and with me are innumerable blessings of God." Wait, so you're probably thinking, how could he have come already? Why didn't we hear about him yet? Well, it is in the Bible. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Then you might ask yourself, but wait, Jesus was supposed to come back himself. Why is someone else coming? Here's another clue left by Jesus himself. "For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'" So the only way to really understand if Ahmad was a Messiah is to put his teachings to the test. He did say his mission was to declare the glory of God. So we took the same questions everyone had about God and shared the answers from the promised Messiah himself. Here are their impressions.
Do you know often there's in the major world religions, there's this talk or there's this prophecy of coming of a Messiah.
Yeah.
And he's mentioned in all the major world religions.
Yeah.
What is your take? People are still waiting for this person, obviously for the need of the time. He's needed more than anything else.
Well, they can't all be right?
They can't.
That's the problem.
But they can't all be wrong either.
Yeah.
We're the only community who believes that Messiah that everybody's waiting for, he already came. I myself, I'm from the Ahmadi Muslim community. We're the only Muslims in Islam who believe that Messiah has come. That we are the Muslims who believe in the Messiah. So he's not coming.
Like the Jews.
Like the Jews believed in the first advent, right?
Right.
And I believe that the second advent of the Messiah has already happened. So I'm from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And we're the Ahmadiyya community is the only community that believes that Messiah has already come. And even our fellow brothers, other Muslims, and even our fellow brothers who are Christians, they're also waiting for a Messiah to come. His name is Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. He hails from Qadian, India. And he said that I'm in the same spirit of the Messiah that is being mentioned in other religions. There are not going to be many Messiahs. It's just basically one, as there is one God. So I'm a Muslim who believes in the Messiah. And he also answered these questions that I was looking up on Google. So the first question he says about, when I looked it up, it was, does God care? And he says, God's grace comprehends all peoples, all countries, and all ages, lest any people should complain that God bestowed his bounties upon others and not upon them. So God, he says that God is for everybody. It's not just for one particular group. It's for all nations, all
That's
countries.
my kind of God. I haven't seen a whole lot of that around here.
So he says that God's grace is for everyone, all countries, all nations.
Totally agree.
And then he also said, you agree with that?
Yes.
So he's saying it's open for everybody. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a free gift that you choose.
Then about God talking to us, he says, our God is the one who is alive today as much as he ever was before. Likewise, he speaks today as he did in the past. He hears as he used to. So what are your thoughts on him saying that?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's a two-way conversation, and certainly you can't put into practice what he's telling you if you're not asking for what it is that you need out of life.
So he's basically saying the radio station, the frequency of God has always been the same. We changed our frequency, so we need to go back to him. So, our the radio has a frequency, right? And you're like, okay, God is talking one frequency, but we changed our frequency, we're not listening. But he's always there, he's always talking. Any comments on that?
Or like they say, the guy's beating on the TV, he says, it's not coming on. Got to plug it in. You got to be plugged into to some type of spirituality.
Do you think that God still, like as the promised Messiah is saying here, that he agrees, he still is alive, and he communes with people who choose to listen to him?
I believe so.
I agree. I think that, God is all around us. You just have to figure out what that means to you and look for that in the world.
And then he says about God's love for everyone, he says, divine love is not like human love, which involves pain and agony of separation. Rather, it means that God treats those who do good deeds in the same way as a lover treats his beloved. Do you believe in something, a love of this kind?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we're not going towards that route. We are actually focusing on the higher being as much. And to me and to our community, the answer is in God. And I think that's where the focus needs to be, is on God. And because in God lies true life for all of us. So if all of us focus on God, and that was the purpose of the advent of the Messiah, to bring people towards God, because we're turning away from him. That's what Islam also teaches, that you take one step towards God, he takes 10 steps towards you. The only thing is taking that first step requires some effort, as you mentioned. It's hard.
Totally agree with you.
And the answer is, our peace and solace lies in that God.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely belief. I agree.
Any comments on the quotes that I shared?
Beautiful. One God for everyone, and he loves us all.
So let's face it, the destruction, the mayhem, the utter regard for spirituality, or disastrous regard for human life, all of it can be resolved by humanity reconnecting with its Creator. As he said, there are only two parts of faith, to love God and to love His creation. Peace and salam.